This podcast is brought to you by McGinty. McGinty is a creative subscription service that gives you access to pre-vetted, agency-trained creatives from all over the world. From graphic design to illustrations to social media management and web development, it's all included for one monthly price. It's time to say goodbye to the hassle of searching for top-notch creative talent. With McGinty, you get quality and consistency delivered right to your inbox every day. Carefully crafted for you by humans. So meet your new creative team today. Head over to McGinty.co for more and enter the coupon code located within the podcast show notes.
Okay, let's begin. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fully Managed by McGinty podcast, the podcast where we share marketing and business insights to help you along your business journey. I'm your host, Oliver, McGinty's partnership advisor, and I'm joined today by a very special guest, Michael, CEO and founder of FP360 Group. Michael, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Oliver. I'm really looking forward to speaking with you and the team.
Thank you. We're grateful for that. So before we dive into talking more about your business, let's warm up with a little game I like to call Pitch Me This. You'll have 30 seconds to pitch me a business idea based on a prompt I'll give you. Are you ready?
I am ready, yes.
Okay, so today's prompt is, it's a crazy one, a billboard company where companies do a live bidding for their ad to show on a highway. Go.
Well, I'd like to talk to you today about a billboard company that allows you to bid on putting your ad on a highway. You can imagine that going down any highway, there are hundreds and hundreds of billboards. But that being said, there are thousands, if not millions of people each week that pass those billboards. So you can imagine that this billboard and this opportunity is extremely valuable to you and others in the industry, and you want to get your name out there as fast as possible and to as many people as possible. We make it easy by making this a live auction so that you have the ability to bid on the space that you want for the time that you want. And we know that this is an extremely valuable opportunity for your name to get out there. And those people driving, which as we all do and all have cars, go to work, commute, and go to the store, they're going to see your name, face, and your vision. So this is an opportunity for you. We'd love to work with you and move forward with you on this. And please let me know what your thoughts and questions are.
Wow, Michael, that's one of the most enterprise level answers we had in the show so far. It's usually, we usually start just laughing about the idea, but you actually sold it to me. So yeah, congratulations on that. I would actually want to buy one of the spaces.
I guess I could go into that as a new business model for me, for sure. Definitely interesting for me. So.
Well, that's what we do here in Fully Managed. We not only help our audience, but we also help our guests have these crazy business ideas. So yeah, to start us off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what led you to create FP360 Group?
Yeah. So again, my background, I went to the university for the sciences originally and business, actually. I kind of was dabbling in both. International business was interest to me because I traveled the world with my family, working for an international company. I wanted to see more of the world, but I was also interested in sciences, tinkering at home, building things at home. Legos, frankly, were my favorite thing. But ultimately, that led me to do some work in biology and chemistry, where I first started in the fishing industry, working with the fisheries as a liaison between government bodies and the fisheries industries to try to protect and manage fisheries. Great work, fantastic, interesting job. I ate some of the freshest seafood I ever had, but it was literal and figurative, backbreaking work. So I wanted to find something a bit more stable for me and for a long-term career path. In my background, where I come from in the Midwest, industry and manufacturing is very heavy. It's a huge part of what we do. And I grew up in the Rust Belt, where there is still good business there, but challenging businesses trying to do better in their industries, paints, coatings, so on and so forth. So I began working in the coatings industry for a paint company and a coatings company, and started out as a bench chemist, going out, putting out fires at our customers, doing little R&D labs as well. And then ultimately evolved into kind of more of a commercial role, but always with a technical background. I didn't want to go into sales, if you will, but I wanted to always be able to help my customers and help them, improve their processes. Again, as myself, a representative of those companies at the time, wanted to make sure that I provided them the best service, the best support, the best options to help them out. I grew my career professionally, led sales organizations, helped customers grow, and it always was something that interested me, which was troubleshooting, problem solving, and getting out there like I was when I was younger, tinkering on the site and in the field, giving that direct line of service and support to those customers. So ultimately, FP360 really was born from that. My goal was to, in any of these organizations, to provide the best service and support to those customers, now my clients and our clients, of course. And, myself, I thought I want to be able to support these customers that came to me for advice, that came to my colleagues for direct advice and expected us to do right by them. And I always wanted to do that very directly with them, and again, I appreciated the background and the opportunities I had that helped me grow professionally. But starting out as my own, independent consultant in these industries, with my background that I garnered early on in my career, was something that was scary but extremely interesting, and that's where FP360 started. We've thus grown, again, colleagues and partners that I've worked with who have varying levels of background, interest, and expertise. And really, our vision is to be that premier partner for organizations or navigating these complex challenges. They're, we're trying to set a standard for them: clarity, resilience, sustainable growth. And we want to, FP360 allows us to do that for them directly and to provide a service level that we all find is something ingrained in us as experts, but also it's the way we believe things should be done by way of those doing good work in manufacturing, in biotech, and other industries we work in.
That's great to hear, Michael. You mentioned a very important point about how you love troubleshooting, you love helping, and that's something that I love to do too. Do you feel like that idea planted the seeds for this consulting business?
Yeah, it really did. I would often find my ways, and I can't tell, sometimes my previous colleagues and bosses, always fantastic mentors and colleagues, but a challenge I would often have is giving them the straight answer. I went to my clients or customers at that time, telling them, you know, these are really honestly what I believe. You come to me for credible and approachable information. I need to give you the honest truth and never lie to you, never hide anything. I want to give you the exact answers to how you better your your operations. And ultimately, sometimes that would be a challenge for sometimes the products I worked with or the manufacturing that I work with to provide them those products sometimes didn't often align with what was best. So what we wanted to do always and what FP360 wants to do is empower those organizations with what is best, regardless as an outside point of view from our expertise, but also as we do, we dive into their operations to give them everything we think is right while also understanding their situation within context so that the picture is appropriate for where they are.
Yeah, that's one of the many. I think is the most important thing about helping someone about doing this type of consulting is the context. Some might say it's easy as a third person to say, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that, but you need to go beyond that. You need to put yourself in the shoes of your client, in the shoes of this everyday worker, everyday business, and see from their perspective what resources they can use. And this is an idea that I had in my mind for quite a while, and it's great to see that you, Michael, CEO of a consulting business, knows how to express it. You helped me get that idea out of my head. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah, we often I tell my team, my colleagues, and my customers, there's two things. One, put myself in their shoes because if I don't do that, then there's no appropriate answers to what I'm offering them, even though my expertise and my teams is high. We have to put ourselves in their shoes. And additionally, a thing that's made me successful and allowed me to really succeed in building this as well is speaking to our audience. I have been in the trenches, literally and figuratively, in our trenches at manufacturing plants, cleaning out, rolling up my sleeves, getting dirty, cleaning sludge out of the bottom of a zinc tank, for example. At the end of the day, I then can, clean off, freshen up, go and talk to the boardroom about pricing, structure, strategy, and working with them to, on a better improvement or an R&D project with them. So it is really important to speak to your audience, to adapt to your clients, and to, like you said, understand their context. It's important. It's what we do. There's no one size fits all. It's not a 3-ring binder with copied and pasted recommendations just because it's an automotive company. 2 automotive companies with similar operations are still different. So we try to understand that, and that helps us better support them.
That's great. So, Michael, given that you have this special insight gained through your experiences, like you said, in the trenches, how do you feel that insight has evolved, given that you are almost 3 years with FP360 now? How do you feel it has changed from the very beginnings of the consulting group to now?
Yeah, I think what has helped me a lot, frankly, I started this out as an independent consulting venture. I wanted to work directly with clients myself. And as I spoke to not only colleagues in my network, but colleagues who heard about me and became part of my network, I found that it was a common theme of people that I worked with who had great knowledge, who had a great way of communicating with customers, but for various reasons wanted to follow that same path. And how it's evolved really has grown to a network and a group of experts where we can provide various services. And what's nice is, I have a broad background. I've worked in manufacturing, I've worked in fisheries, I've worked with wastewater and environmental endeavors as well, both directly and indirectly as part of work I've done in the past. But I have some people in my network who are very biotech oriented, and those biotech consultants that work with FP360. Often a good example is we had a project recently where a biotech firm, they're growing and they needed to go through grant writing and all these different proposals, and they're trying to build out their lab and get connected with CROs, contract research organizations, get in touch with them. So that consultant partner of mine was able to help them on that project, but they also similarly wanted to understand the market they were getting into, which again, my very technical, great colleague who helped them on this technical build out, grant writing, their experience, that was their wheelhouse. But my background as a sales professional and a director of an organization for some time allowed me to jump onto the project with them and tag team this project from 2 different avenues. And that's why our network has been our strength, because we have the technical roll up the sleeves, and then I began working on basically a fielding of the competitive the competitive field for them, understanding that, giving them an action plan, having them understand who are their competitors, how do they scale with ease, how do they do all of this stuff that they're preparing for, getting it set right now, the proper foundation to jump into that market properly. So the biggest evolution has been that, which is starting on my own, and I'm not just I don't know everything, and I know what I know and I know what I don't know, and my consultants that work with FP360, we know the same thing, but we empower each other to work on broader projects for bigger clients and smaller ones who have multiple needs. So we can activate those resources better today than when we started, and that's been a fantastic growth for us.
Yeah, it's not every day that I hear how a one-man business turns into this conglomerate, this network of work. Usually, when I talk with many agencies, they say, "Yeah, we start as a group of 3, 5, 6 people." But this is first for me. Actually, I'm being honest here. You start as one, and then you create a whole group of network. No?
Yeah, it was scary. I was like, wait, should I pivot a little bit? And again, I have my clients, I work with them directly. Yes, I'm founder of this, and this was my independent consulting firm. But the great part about that is, it evolved naturally and organically because everyone seemed to say the same things to me that I was saying to my potential and now current clients. So it's kind of it's grown in a interesting way, but certainly it has felt natural along the way, even though it started humbly with just myself.
Yep. So in that process of growing throughout the years, do you feel like are there any milestones or turning points you would like to share with me?
Yeah, I think one of them was it's funny. Again, I reach out to a broader network of potentially new clients as well as old clients, and one of them, myself and a partner, we reached out to a large automotive company. And it's funny, this company used to be a customer of mine back in the day, and that this was 10 years ago. And at that time, we had solved a really interesting issue. And this issue was involving, they had a fishbone, root cause analysis on the board with 1,000 felt like different things that this could have been causing this issue, ruling them out one by one by one. And this is
Wow.
10 years ago. What got me excited about troubleshooting and problem solving, and after spending a couple weeks there at the customer, we ended up going back and revisiting one small thing because someone made a comment. And it's why, it's one thing that I like to do. I think of everything and I don't rule anything out because someone made a comment that rang a bell in my mind. And I said, that, it's working. I guess you could have checked it off the list, but that doesn't sound right. So went back in, solved this issue. It was we identified the root cause. It was a small thing. A probe was operating, but operating with a small crack, which meant it was operating at a different range, and it was reading too low. So they were inadvertently making too many additions of a chemical. Not to get in the weeds here, but long story short, we found that was the root cause. This small, tiny, I mean, you could barely see it with the naked eye, crack in this probe was giving errant but reasonable enough numbers to make actions that those actions cause this issue. And I'll never forget, speaking to the leadership there from this large automotive company, not the owner, of course, but higher
Yeah.
ups who had been there because at this point they had been brought in, explaining the issue professionally and worrying that they were going to probably explode at me and everyone else. But they took a breath, shook their head, and said, "Wow, this is embarrassing, but thank you, and let's act. Let's fix this right now." And a milestone, going back to that, I had reached out again to, as a P360, I've worked with current and former clients over the years, current and former employers over the years, and ultimately have brought up to them or reached out to this same firm that I worked with, and they had remembered this issue that happened before. And we've now executed a small project with them, but one of the people who was in the lab at the time is still there and said, "Wow, good to see you've grown up." It was a really cool moment. And I don't, maybe or maybe not, we would have gotten the business without this happening. Certainly, I want to attribute it to 10 years ago, fresh in my career, that this milestone was attributed to that hard work and stressful situation, certainly.
That sounds like a movie, Michael. I'm not gonna lie. That sounds like you start the whole movie. You try to fix this breakage, this probe with on your first job, and then in the final scene you come back almost a decade later with another business, and they remember you.
And they were about to pour out about $50,000 of chemistry and rebuild. And I told them, I don't want you to do this. That's going to cost us all a lot of money. Thankfully, we didn't. So that was where the stress and the sweat came from. But
Yeah.
most of the time it's a little less romantic, but that was a really fun, it's always stuck with me as a really fun professional turning point in my career.
Yeah, that's lovely to hear because going back a bit to why do we love helping? For me, in my opinion, it's more about, yes, I love helping people. I love giving them solutions to things, but I also see it as a puzzle. It's a puzzle where you find a solution and you feel happy, you feel euphoric that you found a solution to it. Do you feel like that when you did your consulting group and with FP360 and your past technical work?
Yeah, I mean, to be completely honest, that is really the joy I get out of this. I always have. It's why I built this, because that feeling when you solve a problem, like you said, it feels fantastic. You see a
Yeah.
customer gain trust in you. You see a client say, "Thank you. This has been such a difficulty for us." It really is my favorite part of the job, and it also helps. I mean, again, I'm here running the organization, growing it. I have to sell ourselves, but I have found, again, back in my early careers, as we talked earlier, I did not want to get into sales originally. I don't, I'm not a good golfer. I'm not the greatest salesman. I don't know, I'm terrible. I don't know college football at all, for example. So sometimes I can't speak what was my perception of the sales world. But
Yeah.
in manufacturing, in biotech, and all of that, selling yourself often is a key part, and selling your technical expertise and prowess is an important part too. So I've always viewed myself, even in this role at FP360, as a technical salesperson, because that helps sell yourself very well. And that really makes it an ease for me, because it's genuine. It's what we like doing. It's like what we all want to do. That feeling of solving problems, that look on our clients' faces, that when they want to, bring us into a client, or sorry, a colleague in the industry and introduce us and build our network, and we help those industries. It's a great feeling, and it's natural for all of us. So it's not always perfect. I can tell
Yeah.
you, we over the years, in all forms of my career, I have found rarely, but sometimes it happens, that there is no way we came to a root cause and we couldn't find the root cause. But I can tell you, we, and myself, are persistent to the very end, and often at least can alleviate the issues there. But there is an issue. When there is an issue, there is some sort of root cause and way to establish a countermeasure and remove that issue. So ultimately, it's an addiction to hunt for those problem solving, or solving those problems. And it can be a great feeling, through some of the difficulties too.
Yeah, I think the difficulty of it makes it a little bit more exciting too. This is talking in my opinion. If it gives you a little bit of a stressful time, and when you finally found the solution, it's like, yes, it's like a victory that you'll remember. So I wanted to talk about a little bit more to your core services. Michael, can you tell us a little bit more about what FP360 Group does?
Yeah, so FP360, again, we are a boutique firm in a sense. I don't use that term often. Everyone says boutique, but I like that term because it it's not that we do everything, but we do keep an open mind when clients come to us. Our core services, of course, we have professionals who have done operations, process management in manufacturing, lab quality auditing in biotech laboratories and pharmaceutical laboratories, healthcare facilities, and we do a lot of industry analysis. We do basically an analysis of what is the industry outlook, what is the competitive analysis, and what is your positioning. So we do keep an open mind. Again, we'll do, if clients have projects that fit in our wheelhouse and skill set, we'll certainly support them. But I think broadly with our professionals, we get in the field with them and we help improve their processes. We help them expedite their systems so that they have a better output, better throughput, lower their costs, help them save money. We take a complete 360-degree view of their processes in this part of our services, which is process management and supply chain management consulting. So if you have a manufacturing firm, or even a biotech firm, or an energy firm, and you're looking to improve your processes, we can take a complete view of that and help you with individual issues and help you upgrade the system as a whole to, as I mentioned, save money, improve efficiency, make things much more streamlined. So that's the process side of things. Again, quality is a big thing. We believe we put out quality work. We don't copy and paste and just send reports out. We do a heavy amount of quality assurance for any sort of deliverable and any sort of support or project completion to our clients. So quality, not only internally is what we do, but we provide quality services to laboratories. So whether you're a biotech firm looking to do a pre-audit before inspections, a pre-inspection audit, whether you are just looking to have a better, safer system of quality assurance, safety protocols in the laboratory or on site, quality and safety is kind of that second pillar there. And then, of course, there's the kind of business operations, not the manufacturing operations and the quality operations, but the business operations. Like I said, strategic staffing, review of sales teams, review of structures, review of kind of internal satisfaction with organizations, kind of that user experience within the organization, those human factors. And that all builds out certain projects, as I mentioned, industry analyses, outlook reports, positioning blogs or positioning workbooks for our clients as well. So business operations and quality, the three big things we do.
That's great to hear. Business, operation, and quality. one thing that stands out to me is the emphasis on quality. Do you feel like that's what truly sets FP360 apart from the other agencies, or would you like to, I don't know, highlight any other thing, any other competitive edge that you have?
Yeah, the thing that does set us apart are really a number of things. You had mentioned quality. We provide and make sure our final product to any client is highest quality that we can give as a group. And we believe that that's quality that edges out some in the industry because we take that internal, holistic 360-degree view of their operations or their processes to provide them that final item for whatever that project may be that considers that context about them. That's really where we set ourselves apart is we're on the ground, we're in the rooms with them, we're in the field with them. There's no project, some we can do virtually, but there's no real project. We like to not get our hands dirty, if you will, with the clients to figure out their issues or help them improve their operations, providing something more than, say, that 3-ring binder or that PowerPoint that's really nice and polished, but it's actionable items from our expertise and our experience with those clients in the field in their sites. So those are the big things there. Lastly, to safety. We have that quality, we have that on the ground element, but safety is a big thing here. That company I mentioned that I used to work for now as a client of ours, they have I'll never forget this. It's a rug that you wipe your feet on. I should know this better, but my brain is blanking. But you walk into the facility, you rub your feet on there, and it says "Safety is a gamble," and it has, of course, dice and some chips from Las Vegas. It has just a little themed rug there to wipe your feet on, and I find that funny because it's the first thing you see. It's a little shame that you wipe your feet on it, but I never forget that because safety is a key thing we do. We work in mining operations. We work in manufacturing operations. We work in technical laboratories that have all names and numbers of chemicals that you can get with. I've worked with some interesting chemicals over the years, but safety is ingrained in our team and our operations. So, and we always do with our projects that we do present to our clients, include that as well, some sort of safety element that, and we're not there to say you're doing things wrong. We're there to say we've been there, we've seen it, we really value you as a client and you value your employees just like we do. So we want to make sure that what we saw is always a safety element we provide as our projects too, pending we do something on site as well. So
Yeah, that's cool because Michael, you're like one of the first agencies that I hear talk about how you put your people in there on site. And I like that you just reinforce the idea of not only quality but safety for these clients that you have, but also safety for the employees that will be there working with them in their shoes.
yeah. It's funny you say that. I'll say, I always feel bad. My wife, she's a personal stylist. She's a fantastic woman. She is my rock. I will say this. She has bought me some beautiful outfits, some great outfits that I feel like I want to go and wear to my clients. Of course, just it feels good to wear a nice suit or a nice shirt. But sometimes I have to, she said, oh, if you don't pack that. And I said, well, I will wear this if we have a dinner, but I'm not going to wear this nice outfit you bought for me with your love and to go and get, phosphoric acid on it or something like that. So I do have I have 2 outfits when I travel for clients. I have my dirty outfit and let's go have a nice dinner. And yeah, I'm proud of that, but it's definitely a challenge because I've lost a few pair of shirts, pants, things like that over the years. But again, safety first. I always know where the safety showers are at site. So
oh, that's one of the most unique experiences I heard in this podcast yet. I can't even imagine that some chemicals fall in my suit. I don't know. But
you don't like that. It's mostly, it's never a fun thing, but I advise you, watch from a distance. There's some YouTube videos of safety. It's better that way. So
okay, I'll keep it in mind. Never go to a factory in a suit.
yes,
So
yes, absolutely. So I think that's absolutely the takeaway.
So, looking forward in the future, what do you feel like it's next for FP360? Any new services, areas of growth, new suits to have chemicals on? What do you feel about?
Yeah, certainly. Hey, maybe chemical resistant suits. We can look at that, but nonetheless, no. For FP360, again, the FP stood for very, very early on. Again, I give credit to my wife for this. For the people, for the planet. FP. That's really how this was built. But then I thought for progress, for profit, for productivity, for all these things that. FP360 myself at the time, what I brought to my clients and customers, we wanted to bring that to as a group now to our clients and customers. We've been growing. I have now an extended network and I'm continuing to grow that because we do see FP360 as the future of progress, the future of work for our clients. So we have some exciting things over the years to come that we're going to be working on and being able to provide on the ground expertise to our clients more directly, more rapidly, being able to have various resources that can be, engaged quite quickly. Already we do, but again, we're growing as a network and offering just very specific work to our clients. So we have a vision for providing greater services, more streamlined services, and growing our network to be able to do so with an exciting structure that we're building. But right now, our goal is to continue to, help improve our industries and grow into new industries and verticals. For example, a client of mine I work with now, fantastic client. I would have never imagined it was an industry at all, but it is an industry with a trade group and they have a lot there. So what we have been doing is, of course, we provide services on the ground to this client. And this is a client personally of mine that I work with. And once this project is done, we're going to be able to take this work and adopt it, not copy and paste, but adopt it for others who are facing similar challenges in those industries. So again, we have a long-term vision to do this in a vast scale, and we're continuing to do so and build that. But in the short term, we've found great industries we have expertise in and that we've found work well with our group that we want to help support those industries broadly and have dedicated support structures for those industries while looking for new verticals and new industries, which you can see on the website where we are. Not an inclusive list, but there's others we're exploring, and we'll continue to do so and bring on experts who share that idea of what we want to do and bringing that work and support to our clients.
That's fantastic to hear, Michael. And with that vision for the future of FP360, we'll wrap up today's conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your story and the impact your team is having in the consulting world, one of the most unique ones I've heard so far. So for anyone listening, if you'd like to learn more about FP360 or see how their expertise could help out your business, you can check out the links in the description. As always, thank you all for tuning in. And Michael, thank you once again for your time.
Oliver, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Fully Managed, brought to you by Penji. Check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest. And to learn more about Penji, the human-first creative subscription service, head over to penji.co. And by the way, if you're still listening, it would mean the absolute world to us if you were to share this podcast with a friend and, of course, subscribe.